Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And welcome to Tuesday night's edition of Simply
Hello,
Spooky. Lois has just lost it.
We were winding each other up. Sorry.
I know. Sorry. We shouldn't be doing that. But tonight we are talking haunted toilets. And do they exist?
Boo with a poo.
We're just going to have to wait a few minutes for people to calm
down.
Hi, Annette.
Hi.
Are you okay now?
I'm absolutely fine. It's just the subject. I knew as soon as I came on that I would break.
Haunted toilets.
She's gone. Oh, so have you had a good week, Lois?
Yes, I have.
Up until now.
How's everybody else had a good week?
Dan?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, not been bad, thank you. I'm looking forward to tonight's subjects. Well,
how's RDD?
Sort of. Very good. Very good.
Hey, Chantel in the house.
Hello.
Chantel in the room. Woo, woo. Chantel in the room. Woo, woo, woo.
So we have to do that for Chantel, which is something
it is a traditional thing now for us. Yeah, not bad. Everybody had a good week. You had a good week, Vivian?
I have. I've been busy in the garden. I've been gardening.
Everybody had a good week. You had a good week.
Oh, got an echo.
Oh.
So
that was my phone because I was ready to share and I forgot it's on loud.
Oh.
Ginger's fault.
Shut up, Doris.
Yes, that's exactly the subject we're getting into. About how these toilets are haunted and how it seems to be quite a common theme, and it's more common than most people think, actually. In fact, it's really, really common.
So I'm just getting ready to share this out. So chat amongst yourselves.
Okay, so we're going to... you got to find the proper word for this. I was just about to say we're going to delve into the toilet situation, but I didn't mean that. We're going to be delving into the subject of spirits and haunted bathrooms and toilets this evening. I know it's a funny one. I understand that, but it is an actual serious and interesting subject. Particularly if you think yourself, that's where you'll find yourself most vulnerable, probably most relaxed, and probably feel most secure. But obviously, if you've got activity going in the bathroom, and I'm not talking about the activity of what you're doing, but the activity of what's going on around you spiritually, then that can be quite upsetting, in fact, terrifying for some people. To give you a prime example, I'll start with what happened to me a few years ago. We got called out to investigate a pub that was having a lot of sort of poltergeist activity, and they didn't really know what was going on, and a lot of it seemed to be centered around the ladies' toilets. Now, before the pub was open, we went in there and we did like a reconnaissance. We did a recce in there. And I used something called, which you don't really see people use now. Viv's got one, and I've still got one. It's a sonic ear. And what it is you've got these headphones and you've got like this parabolic dish, and you press it and it picks up the sound. It is exactly pretty shitty to be honest about it. What it does is it increases the volume of sound. So you can hear things like whispers. If you think that spirit vocals or spirit voice is carried on a much lower level than ours, then this thing increases the quality of it so you can hear it. And the one thing that I heard when I walked to the bathroom, just outside the bathroom, put the ear on, pressed it to start it going, and I picked up women's footsteps that walked past me, high heels, walked past me into the bathroom. The door didn't open, didn't hear the door open, but it just walked up to the bathroom door, and then you could hear it inside as well. So I followed it. It was only a small little area, and when I was inside, I just asked some questions. Is there anybody in here? Could you come forward? I think I heard you walk up to the bathroom door. Is it true that are you the energy or the spirit person that resides in these toilets or is found around these toilets? Sounds dodgy, doesn't it? And I got back help. Very faint, but help. And then I went into the, I suppose you'd call it the stall, wouldn't you? The area where people sit
Yeah.
down.
Mm.
And I got in there and I pushed the door to, closed it, pressed it again. And I said, "What would you like? What do you want? Is there anything I can do to help you?" And then there was a giggle and a laugh, like a young woman, giggle and a laugh. And then a friend of mine went in there and he came out and he was white as a sheet because he'd gone in there with the air as well. And he came out and I said, "What's happened?" He went, "There was a woman in there down giggling." He said, "The more that I was getting upset, the more she was laughing." So obviously
Oh my God.
she was getting some sort of enjoyment out of this.
Yeah.
So we sort of focused a lot of the attention around the bathroom that evening. And we kind of pieced together that there was a girl from the sort of 1950s, and she was a landlady or a barmaid. She worked there, and she'd passed away, and she'd never quite left that actual pub. And the toilet was something else when she was there. It was like a cloakroom, and it was also a storeroom. So that's probably why she was around there an awful lot. I don't need an excuse. I identify as a woman.
Hi, Bon.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Kelly.
Who's that?
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Bon.
Bon's in the house. Bon's
In the house, Bon. Woo, woo.
Woo,
So
woo, Bon.
that was one of the experiences I've had. But I know that a lot of people, like yourself, Viv, you've had a quite nice. Well,
Shall I tell you about mine? Oh, I've had a few in my time, but I have a very good and dear friend who happens to own or run Derby Jail. And many a time I've done a sleepover at the jail. And
you made me stand outside that once while you went and did your...
Yes. Well, in Derby Jail, there are toilets, and you go into the toilet, and then it splits into two cubicles, male and female. And I will not go into that toilet and do my business without the doors being open. So it's the main door to go into the toilets wide open, the actual cubicle toilet wide open. I have to sit there and see out into the and I've always been very, very freaked out by those toilets. So when I was there, a few months ago with Dan, I told all the guys, stay in the day room. I'm going to the toilet. The doors will be open. If you walk past, you're going to see it. Anyway, Richard's seen me having a wee. Ross has seen me having a wee, and Dan has now seen me having a wee, and I really don't care.
You stand there.
I really don't care. So this big fear of the toilets, and it's not just a psychic thing or a mediumship thing. This is an actual fear of the toilets. And when I've slept there overnight, and I've been stitched up many a time and had to have sleep in the condemned man cells, which is right opposite the toilets. And you can't shut the condemned man cell door. It just comes open. And then they've got the toilets right there. So anyway, I was discussing this with Richard, and he told me, because he thought it was funny. It went on for years. Why are you so scared of my toilets? It just is. I'm not going in there. And he actually slipped up and told me that the toilets were a cell that they used to put people in. And the cleaning lady for many years, she never used to do the toilets or that end. She just refused to do them. And this one particular day, she'd come in extra early to get the jail cleaned, and she walked past the toilets and saw a full-bodied apparition in the loos, just there. She dropped her cleaning bucket and all her items that she had. She just dropped them there and then, ran out of the jail. She didn't even lock the jail door. So when Richard came back, I think he was with Ed at the time, they came back to open up the jail. It was all wide open. And in fact, they found all the cleaning stuff, and they rang her up and she said, I hand in my notice, I'm never coming back again. So the toilet thing was actually very real. Like, this apparition would appear in the toilets. Now, as far as I can gather from Richard, this female appeared by the sink, and she seemed to be looking at the wall. She didn't look directly at the woman. So my bad fear about that toilet, and it's not because I might see something, or it just has a very, how can I explain it? A feeling of doom comes over me when I go to that toilet. So it has to be a quick wee. I don't care who's in there. I don't care what event's going on. Those doors are wide open when I go for a wee. And if people see me, I don't give a stuff. So yeah. So that's my haunted toilet, which has that fear of doom for me when I go to the toilets at Derby Jail. It's quite the feeling in there is worse than a condemned man's cell. So whether somebody was taken from there to be hung, who knows?
Oh, wow.
It never ceases to surprise me the amount of investigations you go on. They go, oh, by the way, there's a spirit in the toilets.
Yeah, because at the time it wasn't a toilet. When it was the original building, it was something else.
There's that, and I also think it's to do with the water. I think, you've got a lot of plumbing and water that's been, and obviously water is a living thing, isn't it? It's a living energy. So I think that, it's said that spirit can utilise that energy source for manifestations and for all sorts of activity. And if you think that, I know in poltergeist cases, there's also the substance of H2O. Water also appears quite often in poltergeist cases. So I wonder if there's some sort of connection there.
Von says some people think it's a portal. Do you know what my answer to that is, Von? And I'm going to upset.
Portal, Lou.
I'm gonna upset people, and I don't care. I just think absolute rubbish.
What,
they need to, in the toilets. I just think they need to go back and check their history and do their research, and then they might stop using that word portal. It doesn't exist.
I reckon it's probably a holding cell before they got hung.
Probably, or it's maybe somewhere they've been tortured.
There's probably a lot of energy there, isn't there? Because
it's just odd, because I did an investigation at a private house, and the woman, a lot of it was centred around the bathroom, even to the point that we'd set stuff up in there and walked away. And as soon as we walked down the stairs, there was nobody up there, and we were all downstairs, turned all the lights off, sat there, asked for some sort of activity, and stuff started getting banging about in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And we went up there and...
Bathrooms are quite a good place where people that are going to go shh and do it in the bath
and
is another.
I also think the amount of murders that happen in bathrooms as well, that'll probably be. And again, it comes down to you don't know where the building may have been built on top of. It could play a part.
Yeah, it's true.
That, like where I live, well, it's a couple of towns over, they knocked down a mental asylum and built all new houses on the grounds of it. So again, just taking that as prime example, if we're talking about haunted like bathrooms and things like that, you don't know where exactly in the plans where there could be a confinement or something like that.
Do you know what was this really jumpy thing that happened to me and a friend of mine who ended up joining my team at the time? We went to have a look at a building, and lovely place. We bought a drink, we sat down, and she went, oh, I need to go to the toilet. And I said, I'll come with you. And it was a very flash, lovely building. And it had, I think it was 4 stalls. So she dived into the far end one, and I was just doing my hair and washing my hands and touching up my makeup. And in the mirror, I saw the 3 toilet doors, which were wide open, one after the other. Bang, 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 all went down the line. And her one that she was in didn't go bang, because it was already shut, but I heard a poof right on the door. And I thought, am I really seeing this? No, it must be my imagination. I'm just like in a bit of shock. And she went behind the toilet. She was doing her stuff. She went, all right. She goes, Viv, I know you're in here with me. She said, just go and use one of the others. I said, it's not me. And from that, we got an investigation.
Yeah.
Because we experienced that in the toilet.
I do really think there's something in the water. the energy in the water and the memory as I say, it's a living thing, isn't it? And I think that because if you think about it, the investigations where people go, the taps keep getting turned on,
Yeah.
the toilet keeps getting flushed.
Yeah,
All
but a
around
lot of them,
water.
but a lot of them though, Dan, when you look at it properly, they're not turning the taps off properly.
No.
They're-
No, I'm on about ones that are turned off and all of a sudden they just come. I've seen it, Viv.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen it on investigations. They turn them off tightly and they're on.
That last one we went to, there was a tap running, and I turned it off. It hadn't been.
Sometimes it's the washers.
Yeah.
Sometimes the washers have had it, but you can normally tell. But when we've got activity in the bathroom and the taps keep getting turned on, or the toilet flushes. I mean, it's different now because
toilet flush is different. Yeah.
A lot of them got an electrical system on them, but before that.
Didn't we get the toilet flush in a place in Nottingham that me and you did on our own? Was it a toilet flush?
That wasn't an electric toilet, was it? That was a normal toilet. Didn't we get the sink as well? Something happened at the sink there, didn't it? The sink. That's right. The tap came on.
And the water was brown.
The tap came on, didn't it? Because we finished it, used it, tap came on and the toilet flushed itself. And that was that building they hadn't been touched for ages, did it?
Yeah, and it amazed me that
wasn't it?
The water when it was running was actually brown.
Brown. But it hadn't just turned itself onto a drip or a little dribble. It had like fall because we're like, what's that? Where's that come from?
I was blaming Dan. I said, Dan, have you just been in that toilet? It's going, I've been just sitting here.
It was weird. It was weird.
It was funny. It was funny.
I must admit,
I'm with you, Viv. Sorry, I'm with the portal thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not for me. That. Sorry, you were saying, Lois. Sorry,
Lois. I must admit, I found this subject quite funny until I actually went and researched it. And there was some places that I actually looked at that they were talking. I think there was one in particular. I think it was in Wales. Don't ask me how to pronounce it because the Welsh words are just beyond me. But they were talking about a silver-haired old man that haunts the public toilets across the road from this North Wales pub. But yeah, it is actually a subject. I must admit, I did laugh about it all weekend. It gave me a laugh because I'm thinking, right, come on, surely. But then I kind of think of my own story as well. In this house, my partner is skeptic, right? He doesn't believe in this. And recently, I had obviously been in the bathroom when I came out, and I went by him when he was in the kitchen, and when he went in to go into the toilet, the door was locked for the inside, and he's like, who's in the bathroom? And I was like, I'm here, my sister was in the living room. And he was like, no, he's like, fuck off, who's in that bathroom? And I was like, well, it's just us three in the house, so who else is going to be in the bathroom? He says, Louise. He says, that was locked for the inside. He's like, I couldn't get in. He's like, and I went, see, told you.
What about you, Joe? Have you had any funny experiences hanging around toilets?
Well, not hanging around toilets, but I've got two, really. RAF Rutherham.
Rutherham's
going to town, that's a no-go. The old that's the old system they had back in the 30s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they do say, be careful, you're going to use that toilet, but I don't think that's in use anymore.
It's full of spiders anyway, isn't it? It's not very nice.
Don't bother about me, but no, it's just, you get a really eerie feeling in that. It's just...
Is that the toilet in the control tower at the bottom?
At the bottom.
Yeah, that's. I'll grant you that. That's a creepy room. Very creepy room.
Yeah. You just don't feel... I don't know. There's something... Well, obviously, there's something in there, but... when we stayed over there, we stayed in the navigation room. But that gets quite cold anyway, doesn't it? Because it's concrete floor and stuff.
Yeah.
It's haunted to hell. That building's haunted.
Yeah.
So many spirits in there. So much activity in that building.
Yeah. And Kentwell Hall as well. The Henry VIII had something to do with the house, didn't he? in where is it now? I can't think where it is. Long Milford.
Right.
It's still got the house and stuff, but you go into a bedroom and the stairs are like vertical. So it's like the bedroom's here, but then you got the bathroom is like up on top.
Thanks, Kelly.
And it's a really weird feeling in there as well, that someone's watching you go for a wee or whatever you're doing.
See, that would make me self-conscious. Like, you're going to laugh, right? But when it comes to that side of the different side of life, if I thought for a minute, even if I had an audience with a ghost, that would make me nervous not to do the toilet. Seriously,
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go, would you?
No.
No, I don't want to see my backside.
It is interesting. It is an interesting subject, though.
Darren, there's a message from Annette. She says, we had a window cleaner that refused to clean the windows of a house he lived in as a kid because when he was a kid, the toilet would flush at night and he was adamant that he would never do it.
Yeah.
It's flushing on its own.
Yeah, and I'm guessing the man was probably of an age before all the electric toilet things come in. And
yeah,
they do. I mean, there's lots of incidents where people say, I mean, I've been I mean, I lived with a girl, oh, God, quite a few years ago now. I was only a youngster. And we lived over at the other side of Enfield. And she had a house there, and it was sort of 1930s, the house.
Yeah.
And there was, I mean, people had probably died in it, I don't know, but there was a V1 rocket that had hit the house opposite. And what it had done is it had killed the American servicemen that were staying there.
Oh.
So, yeah, heartbreaking. So it had killed about 7 or 8 people that were having a party there at the time. But her house wasn't daunting or frightening. I mean, I used to stay there on my own. She went on holiday. But the toilet there used to flush and you could hear somebody moving about in it. And I used to think, oh, perhaps it's like one of the lodgers or whatever. But no, they weren't there that night, or they were they were out or what have you. And it was odd, but nothing frightening. And then of course, could a lot of it be like place memory, the flushing? Is it actually flushing, or is it like the sound of it flushing?
Well, I've walked in the remnants of that flush in Nottingham, and you know when you do the flush and the water goes in and then it's got that ripple thing where it's still sort of seeping through. It was doing that.
Yeah.
So I would say that one in particular did flush, but that doesn't mean to say that all of them are flushing. It could be like place memory, like you said.
Memory, you know. I mean, the toilets are used an awful lot, aren't they? You know, and some people, you know, perhaps Dad used to go in there on a Sunday to get away from the kids and get his newspaper, go up and have a cigarette, or Mum would go in there and read a magazine, get away from the kids and family for an hour or what have you. So it becomes like it almost becomes like a little sacred area to people, doesn't it? Somewhere you could sit. How many people say, I'll go to the toilet with a book and I'll sit there and I'll read the book for a couple of hours or an hour, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
or they take their phone in. They take their phone in and it's they're on TikTok, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, there's actors. There was one actor that I can't. He said, if you get a script, how do you know if it's good or not? He said, I'll get the script. It might be Michael Caine, actually. It was Michael Caine, I think. And he said, I'll give it the numb bum treatment. So what I'll do is I'll get the script. When it arrives, I'll go into the toilet. He went, I read the script. And if it gets to the point where I don't notice it, but my bum goes numb, he said, then I'll know that's a good script. Because he's kept me enthralled to the point where I've been on it long enough for my bum to go numb without noticing how long I've been there. So people do. They invest a lot of time in bathrooms, don't they? And of course, you know, women, not being sexist, but women in particular love having a bath. How many hours do women spend in a bathroom? Just, you know.
I must admit, I'm terrible. Not as bad as what I used to be because I've got my OCD kind of under control that way. But I'm terrible for baths and showers. I'm almost like I could be the cleanest person in Britain, but that still wouldn't be good enough for me because I would need to be in baths and showers constantly. I do spend a lot of time in the bathroom, doing baths and showers.
So it might not necessarily be spiritual activity with a lot of it. It might just be place memory. People that are, splashing about or making a noise or pottering or even singing or whistling or what have you, sitting on the toilet, having a whistle or whatever. I don't know, having a shower, singing, all of that. It could be any of that, really.
It could be the fact that you've got, I know I've done it myself. Like, sometimes he'll tell me that I've been up during the night and I'm like adamant, no, I haven't been. And he's like, Louise, you are. He says you went through it. And it could be that some people's probably got up. They probably not even remember.
Yeah. And I've done that. I've done that.
I sleep eat as well. Because I nearly blamed Stephen for eating my crisps the other day, and it wasn't him, it was me.
So I'm going to bring it down to the more seedier side of toilets now. So I know about central London and the outskirts of London. They used to have a lot of what they call public conveniences. And some of them were very beautiful. Very beautiful and very ornate. And one of them in the east end of London was turned into an underground nightclub. Or a bar, yeah, they're that beautiful. But there was a lot of seedier stuff that happened in these outside conveniences. I mean, there was the George Michael incident, he, doing what he did with other men. But that went on for years. It wasn't something that was new. So I wonder if some of these ghosts replaying events where they're going to the toilet still.
It could be because
meet someone.
When was homosexuality outlawed here? Oh, when was it lifted? Right up to the 60s, wasn't it, Viv?
Later than that, I think, wasn't it? It was still taboo. Still taboo, really, in the early 80s.
It was quite hush, wasn't it?
But I mean, they made it. Why it was illegal, I never understand. But they made it illegal, or it was deemed as illegal, wasn't it, until the 60s,
That's
late
right.
60s. I mean, and it wasn't the case that men wanted to hang around toilets. It was a case that was where they could go secretly, for a liaison without getting arrested, or hopefully not getting arrested in their cases. But that's the only way they could do it.
Yeah. So they were driven there, really. But some of them are still replaying that. I mean, I know they've now closed down a lot of the toilets because of drugs and children and vandalism and all that sort of thing. But some of these toilets, they're still standing there. And I think that's where, the film Candyman, he went to the toilet and he did whatever. That was a good example of one of these public I mean, their hours are not as disgusting as that, but they're not far off. But you wouldn't want to go in these toilets even if you were caught short nowadays. And a lot of them are closed and knocked down, but there are still some.
They were beautiful though, Viv, weren't they?
Oh yeah, we've still got public toilets in March. They've still got some there, but nowadays I think you have to put your money in to go to the toilet, and you have to be careful, because if you're not careful and you don't do your stuff quickly, the doors open and it starts cleaning itself. You get sprayed with blue stuff.
You come out looking like a Smurf.
I'm like, yeah, you would. And there's a toilet in central London. When you go in and you sit on the toilet, you can see people walking past you. It's a fully glass toilet. So from the inside, you can see people walking past outside, but they can't see in. But again,
that was giving me the fear there, because I was just sitting there thinking that would petrify me if, like, I'm just sitting there and I can see it, and I wouldn't even go into the toilet like that, because I would be too feared in case I can see in.
There's one in Islington that they turned it. It was on Grand Design. I don't know if you watch Grand Designs. It was on Grand Design.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah,
beautiful. It was it's in Islington. Yeah. And what they did, they still kept the glass floor above it, so it let light in, but also you could see people walking to and fro.
Like the square.
That's it, the frosted square. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's it. It was absolutely stunning.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
But it was lovely.
Joanne said something funny. I remember this song. Oh dear. But no, toilets, haunted toilets. I like castles. You know, they're haunted. What do they call them? The cloakrooms. You know, it's got that bench with a hole in the middle, and
Yeah.
that was in somebody's house that I investigated, and it was an original feature of the house. But the bathroom was huge, and you know what? That bathroom had a real bad, eerie feeling to it. I don't think it was because it was old. I think that because of the haunting that was happening there on that floor. But that bathroom is seeing that old-fashioned toilet. It's like the proper water closet type things, you know.
Yeah. The old school.
Yeah, I didn't want to go to the. I saved it until we got out of the house, and you know, I went and did it at McDonald's because I couldn't go to the toilet. I was itching to go to the toilet. I couldn't go because I was just too scared to do it in her house, to be honest. It's
Oh, that is my biggest nightmare.
Yeah.
Do you know that's why? Like, I would never go to. I would be too feared to go to Australia because my biggest phobia is snakes, and that is like my utter fear that one day that a snake's
I don't like snakes.
I'll tell you something really funny. In India, their toilets are not like our toilets that you sit on. It's like a urinal in the floor with a foot plate where you put a foot each side of it. So you sort of crouch over the top
squat,
of it.
Don't they?
Yeah.
Some of Eastern Europe's like that.
So it's got a channel that runs from there. When you flush the toilet, the water comes down and it runs it along through like a drain, but it's a channel that goes outside. Now, I happen to be about 15, 16. I was in India. I got up in the middle of the night. That was the nearest toilet, because there was a normal loo that you could sit on the other side of the house, but it was too far away. So I ran to that toilet. I pulled my nightie up, you know, pulled my knickers out of the way, started weeing, and as I'm weeing, I turned the light on and looked down. And as I looked down, I was weeing on top of a toad. He'd got into the house. He was massive. He was about this big, and I was already weeing on his head. And then I started screaming the place down, and then everyone come running, you know, to see what was going on. You know, my dad sort of ran in to see me still weeing on top of the toad's head. He thought it was very, very funny. You know? But you know, to me, it wasn't funny.
No.
But
your dad thought it was funny.
Yeah. Haunted castles, Dan. Do you think a lot of haunted castles have got haunted toilets?
Yeah.
Yeah, because possibly the rooms were something different at a different time. Like we were saying earlier, perhaps it's because of that. It could be. I mean, it could be contributions to it. Could be from many things, couldn't they? It could be a whole sort of, you know, a whole catalogue of things that brings that sort of activity into that sort of area.
I probably think it's because the moat around it, to be fair, with the water.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Although the only water that you can use for energy is running water.
Oh, okay, not like stagnant water. Oh, okay,
living running water.
Right.
Although you might be wrong. I mean, that's just a thought, though, Jay. You might be right. It might, you know, still water might have the same properties. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've heard it's just running water, but it might not be. It might be, as you say, it could be that.
Looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And Alice's hair.
What, the ginger? Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Von, but you've been there 20 minutes now and you haven't mentioned mine.
Nice one.
You've had a nice cut.
Dan, I'm so jealous. How do you keep yours so straight? Because I've tried
Mine's wash and go. I washed it once and it went.
But you are looking quite fresh today, Dan. I mean, you've had your hair buzzed. You've had a shave. You've had a shave.
Had a wash.
You're looking quite smart. You've done your eyebrows.
Oh, I've done my eyebrows, yeah.
I was going to say.
That's because I'm running for Prime Minister.
Well, you might as well. You do a better job.
Wait, Doris, Prime Minister, because he's just as daft as Bojo.
That is true, actually. We might be getting an alliance going, Dan and Bojo. The future in their hands is definitely not safe.
Isn't Bojo a stripper's name?
Blowjo, isn't it?
Sounds like a porn star's name.
Blowjo, isn't it?
See, I was in development class one night. I'll never forget it. And I can't even remember what we were talking about. And obviously it was with Barry John. So, not even thinking, I went, "Oh, that's right, BJ." And he looked at me and I went,
Oh,
"Oh!"
BJ.
I didn't even give that a thought. Cold
No, I didn't.
Isn't it?
And I went, "Oops." But he laughed it off. Barry John found it funny.
He must have had that before. He must have had people refer to him that.
I didn't even think until it was out and I went, "Oh."
I'm trying to post a link to our chat and to get people to vote for vote for your favourite paranormal show on the Things Network. And I want people to try and vote Simply Spooky.
Definitely.
Because we do go into different subjects every week. Every week is a different subject. Sometimes we go off the rails a little bit and we end up talking about something completely different. But each week we try and bring something new and something a little bit individual that other people are not discussing. So if you can, I think on this page that you're watching us live on, if you go to the pinned post, try and vote for Simply Spooky. We would be grateful. I don't know what it's all about, but I think it's about time that the little people, that's me, Dan, Doris and Lois.
Oh, I'm a little person.
You're a little person. Doris is definitely.
I'm little in that sense, but in stature I'm not.
Well, we would appreciate it if you do.
You know,
Yeah, and if you don't,
Got to put up
Yeah.
with it, haven't you?
But do you know, I started off as a fan and now
Thank you,
look
Annette.
at me. I've worked my way up to working with you guys, so
worked your way up. No, you've gone down.
You've gone down, love.
Got down, yeah. It was good once upon a time, but now you've hit the.
And then Viv invited me.
oh damn, I'm demoted.
Oh dear.
Thank you,
And if
Vaughn.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Annette.
Try and get your friends to vote for us too, if you can. Anybody and everybody, we would appreciate it.
Do we vote? Can we vote for ourselves, or can I vote for another host?
No, you got to vote for us.
Oh, I was going to vote Nick Muley.
You got three options. You got three votes. Three
Oh,
votes.
okay. Nick's definitely one of them. Nick's good. Nick's a good lad.
Nick is.
We do love Nick Muley.
I've got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
He's a lovely lad. He's a lovely, lovely lad.
I actually did I think me and Jacqueline did a Halloween special. Because it was 60s and Nick was partying and just listening to him. He was a really, really interesting guy.
Sorry, Joanne said something there.
What's Joanne said?
She said, "Shall I put it up?" Oh, I'm sorry. Don't do it. It's fluffy people are politically correct, and now we say full figure.
Full figure.
I've said it before, Joanne, and I'll say it again. They're just words, and people can say exactly what they want about me. It doesn't make any difference, does it?
Don't bother me either what they think.
Doesn't make any
you know
difference.
what I mean?
Words never hurt anybody.
No, sticks and stones.
The link is on the top of this page, so I'm not able to share it into for some reason. It's not letting me. I'm trying to do it from my phone and it won't let me. So I'll try and put it in the chat after the show, maybe. So
what do you think? What about if you went to Buckingham Palace? Surely the toilets are there, right?
I reckon they are.
Zapping around them, haven't they?
I reckon. Especially the history and whoever sat on that loo, you know.
And
He's a lovely
whoever's
man,
sat in the loo, you could the ability of people that's probably sat in the loo and popped it.
do you know where I get worried about going to the loo? And they're public loos made for public, you know, when they come and visit these places. And there's a few I thought about. The Tower of London. just going to the toilet there is a bit sort of, oh. Then you've got the Galleries of Justice in Nottingham. Their toilets are a bit, oh, I mean, they're lovely toilets, all decked out nice, very modern and all the rest of it. But it's just got that feeling in there. Like, you go there at the right time of the day and you get caught in there on your own, I bet things would happen.
Yeah. Same with Hampton Court, isn't it? I went there once, went to the toilet there and got the Hampton Court.
God, Dan.
But do you not think, guys, that
carry on?
That sometimes that when you take a building and you, I'm closing my eyes and asking the question because I'm not looking at it. But do you not think, guys, when obviously you revamp a building and you decorate it more, that's more. Okay.
Hang on, let me just mute Doris so he doesn't interrupt you.
Go on.
When you revamp, obviously, a building and it's an old building, so you do different things. Do you think that doesn't help the activity either? Like, obviously, in the bathrooms.
Yeah. I can't. What did you say?
You know what? I get up. I'm trying to say 100 times, but I'm too busy laughing at Dan.
Sorry.
I think they do. I think they do, Lois, because you're upsetting the very fabric of the building, aren't you? So if there is something there already and they're not liking it, and you're really going to sort of pee them off, they're going to start doing stuff and bang doors and, throw stuff around and go in the toilet and scare the bejesus out of you while you're trying to have a couple of minutes to empty your bowels, It's, I think so.
I did an investigation years ago. It was in Derbyshire. I'm going back. It's got to be 20 years ago now, maybe a bit more probably. Well, actually, it's getting on for 20. Maybe a bit more, I'm not sure. And there was a spirit. It used to be a boys' school, and there was a spirit there of a caretaker. And what he used to do, he used to monitor the halls, clean the bathrooms, make sure everything was right. And then he passed away. And no activity whatsoever. The boys grew up, left, and what have you. And then all of a sudden they turned it into a girls' school. And apparently the spirit was hanging around the girls' bathrooms and eyeing them up at night and following them to the toilets. They could hear him, and he was always hanging, and they knew it was him. Somehow they worked out it was him. And we didn't pick up any activity or anything like that, but it was just an interesting story that maybe some of these ghosts are lechs in the next life as much as they are in this one. And maybe that's as well. Maybe there are just lechy ghosts.
Annette just said something. She says it would be the poor soul had to wipe the royalties' bum years ago.
Was it called something? Master of the Store, wasn't it, or something?
Master of the Cabinet.
Yeah, it was called the Store, wasn't it? Master of the
Store.
Yeah, what was it? Like a water cabinet or something?
Water closet.
Water closet.
They're probably more scared of the Queen than Haunt.
Yeah.
Do you know what? She's a woman who I'd like to sit down with and have a chat about activity that's gone on in her buildings. Because surely she must have experienced some of it.
Oh, yeah.
I know that Windsor Castle, for a fact, I know from Windsor Castle right the way along the Windsor Walk. It's called the Windsor Walk. It's quite a long place up to the monument that's there. I know that that's haunted, definitely. I know that places inside where they put the Queen Mum, they laid her in state at Windsor Castle. Now, the chapel where they put her in, that is actually haunted. So the chapel within the church, within the castle itself, is actually haunted. But you can go there on Sunday service, and not pay to get in and work because it is a working church. So Windsor Castle, it's been there for a long time. And I think this got quite a lot going on in there.
Yeah, and I bet she's seen and heard a lot of it
Yes.
Yeah, I
over
reckon.
the
Do you
years.
think she would ever admit to it though, Dan?
She's a cool lady, isn't she? She's very sort of calm, collective, very level-headed, and I think that she's the type that wouldn't admit, she might have seen it, experienced it, but I don't think she would say anything. Not
No.
to ridicule. I just think she's the type of lady to keep, like anything, she's
Very
discreet.
private.
Very discreet, isn't she? You know. Yeah. And does it make any difference if those spirits are your ancestors?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, Von. I had to try and chase that and find out what that is. But I mean, you look, when what's his name? Was it Fagin, the guy who broke into Buckingham Palace?
Yes, Michael Fagin, wasn't it?
She didn't bat an eyelid, she didn't panic or anything,
No.
did she? She just sat there talking to him half an hour. And
He
then
sat at the end of her bed chatting to her.
sat at the end of her bed. She didn't break any sweat, did she?
No. No, because she knew that security were on their way, so...
I'm not a big royalist, but I love the Queen, I must admit. I do love the Queen.
Aye.
I don't think so. She's too much of a lady, and really they do need more.
Yeah,
time.
she's got a family that do that.
Yeah.
But the Queen herself.
Yeah,
is
Von,
amazing.
try and find it. Dan would be interested in looking at that.
Yeah, please, Von. That really, yeah. It must be intriguing as well. Like to think, does it make it any less frightening, as I say, if those are your ancestors that are haunting there? That are, you know,
No, still scary.
No, it's still scary. But I mean, what as a spirit though? What do you think? Like, if you had somebody like King Henry VIII, what do you think he would think now of the modern church? And he would think of the way the country's run.
He'd hate it, wouldn't he?
I think he'd hate it, yeah.
Hate it.
Mm.
Yeah, he would.
You know the
detest it.
dissolution of the monasteries. He'd do that all over again, but this time to the churches.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Including his own.
There's not. I always said there's nothing wrong with the belief system. There's nothing wrong with you believe what you want, but as far as religion's or as far as organised religion's concerned,
No.
No.
So, Dan, have you ever encountered or do you know of any haunted toilets abroad? And if so, have you ever come across any abroad?
No, not when I've been abroad. No, nothing like that. No, nothing at all.
No, I haven't either.
What about you, Lois?
No.
I've heard the story about the one that's in Canada that used to be it used to be a funeral home, and I think the story goes it held as many as 2,000 bodies. So it got turned into a restaurant, and it's said to have ghosts in there. Diners report an angry male spirit and a little girl that believes that she's not dead. So that seems an interesting one. That's when I was doing my research to see if I could find any if there was abroad. I think the restaurant was called the Five Fishermen Restaurants. It's in Halifax, Canada.
Right.
So that would be a really interesting one. My mum was in Canada.
That'd be a good place to go and investigate, wouldn't it?
Canada.
Oh God, aye.
Yeah, it would be a very interesting place.
I think it would be.
Yeah, I've had a little look, and I tried to look in the Far East because the Far East, when it comes to hauntings and ghost huntings, is not discussed enough. And a lot of atrocities did happen out in the Far East, you know, with like Cambodia and Pol Pot. They are still finding, you know, human body parts from the killing fields out there.
Yeah.
So, you know, when they put up these makeshift toilets and stuff in places like that, I would say, and there's been no reports, not that I think that they actually write anything down. I think it's all just word of mouth. They would definitely see things, you know, places that had the rice fields, the paddy fields, I'm calling them. And this is not just, you know, Vietnam, anywhere. they're going out and they're planting the rice fields. It's a continual thing out there. But they have these snakes that are venomous that come and kill these people, and they're dead within 15 minutes. So it's not a toilet. It's very similar in a way with a toilet, with the water and everything else. And yes, there is a thing that's actually killing them, and they're going very quickly. Are these places also haunted? And is it because unfinished business? They're coming back, unfinished business. They've got something else to do, say, or
Actually, I think you're right, George. I think you might have something there, because you're right. If you think about the killing fields with Pol Pot, Vietnam, what went on there, and a lot of these Asiatic countries where there was just communism and completely an utter disregard for life.
Yeah.
Where they slaughter their own people by the millions.
Yeah.
Then that's going to hold so much energy. I mean, they talk. What do they call them out there? What do they call them? Something spirits or something ghosts, isn't it? Angry ghosts or angry spirits, they call them, don't they?
Spirits, yeah.
And I think these are spirits of people that are really angry, and quite rightly so, that they've met an end too early or aggressively, violently.
And bearing in mind as well that they haven't got toilets like we would know toilets with a sewer system, and you flush away.
It's done naturally out there, isn't it?
It's done naturally out there. So they've got all that as well combined with everything. Because I've noticed that when you get a lot, this is in general, I'm not necessarily toilets, this is in general, but when you get a lot of dirt and muck around you as well, if a place is really shabby, hauntings are likely to happen. When you clean the place up and make it spick and span, less likely. And I think they also don't like mess. Like if you live a bit dirtier or something, or the places never get cleaned out properly, they're there to haunt. Because the smells come along with it as well. Like, I walked into a place in a toilet, lovely, beautiful toilet, not necessarily haunted, and then smelt a smell that's not actually come from the drainage or anything like that. It's just wafted into, like somebody is, not very nice. And it's like they've soiled themselves before they could get to the toilet. That kind of smell. That's quite a big telltale sign as well. They bring in a smell.
And like Lois said earlier, it's all contributing, like people dying in toilets. And people commit suicide in baths, don't they? They cut their wrists or throw an electric or what have you. So it could be like lots of things.
What about the baths that the killers cut their bodies up in? And now we mentioned Mr. Ted Bundy very briefly before we came live on air, and I know that Ted Bundy, not so much him, but what's his name? The blonde one, the very pretty
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer. He actually dismembered them in the bath and then cut bits up and put them in the fridge. So. Whoever's got that bath now,
that's
because he had a lovely flat in a lovely part of town.
He done that as well, didn't he? The guy up in Cranley Gardens.
Yes,
he used to dismember the bodies in the bath, didn't he?
In the bath. So those bathrooms, I mean, can you imagine? Because I shouldn't imagine that they would have got rid of the bath. They would have cleaned it out, tidied the flat up, and let it out again. So, can you imagine the amount of, well, not the amount of energy, but the type of energy that's going to be in those.
It's going to be residue energy.
Oh yeah, it's in the bath, isn't it?
Could you live in somewhere like that? I mean, I could live in somewhere where people. I have lived in places where people are bath. That doesn't bother me. But living where that sort of activity's gone on, where that sort of energy is just completely, it's going to be absorbed by the environment. And just being in there and knowing what went on in there, I mean, I can imagine.
Can you imagine having a bath in that very bath, with bubble bath and everything, and just trying to relax? Can you imagine?
Even if you rip the bathroom out and put a new one in, Viv,
you'd still have that feeling, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think where you'll find the most, and this is just my opinion, I might be wrong, but I think the most place where you'll find the highest activity for bathrooms will be mental asylums, guaranteed.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mental asylums and prisons. I think prisons, you know, with the toilets and the showers. Some, not all, but I know that the was it the Royal? Oh God, what's that? Not Duxford, the other one. The War Museum, the Imperial War Museum in
Oh, in
London.
London.
Part of that. It's only a small.
Lambeth,
Elephant Castle.
There's a small part of that was actually an asylum, and a very famous asylum called Beldam, or we would call it Bedlam.
that's where we got Bedlam from, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So as they knocked down the part of the building, but some of it was swallowed up in the new building to make the Imperial War Museum.
Yeah.
Which is actually, when you're walking through part of that really notorious asylum in London called Bedlam.
So you got an asylum, Viv.
All
and
right,
you stick a load of war material in there.
Oh,
You've got two energies that are crossing.
I mean, they put stuff in there, don't they? I mean, when I went to the one in Lambeth years ago, they had an exhibition of stuff from the Third Reich and concentration camps.
Yeah.
Harrowing, absolutely harrowing. And imagine all that, and then into a mental asylum.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would
You got some
but
powerful
that's the
energy there,
problem
isn't
sometimes is when you're like crossing, like people think they're doing the right thing. Like prime example, I'll give you a prime example. There's two castles, they've got the same sort of connection, but they took one went on fire and they took bricks from the other castle and put it into the other castle, and it was like almost like a crossover. And the mere negativity and the mere energy that it was coming from, I don't think you should ever mix two energies. Like, see,
but they used to do that a lot with castles in England. They would when one got destroyed, they'd take bits from that one to help build this other one.
Yeah,
it's quite common, isn't it? Then they do
that.
It
is. They did that. That amazing was when you thought Avery. When Avery was first becoming a village, I mean, some of those houses there that sort of 18th century and what have you, 18th or 17th century, they used the stone. Some of the stones that were there, they used in the construction of the housing. And you think to yourself, well, if they were put there for a purpose of channeling energy, what energy's in that stone, and how would that reflect on the people or affect the people that then live in those houses?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd want to live in a house where you had sarsen stones and standing stones, part of the construction. Sounds cool, but I think it would be. Could you imagine the headaches and the problems that you'd have, the sleepless nights you'd have in it? Because
and the toilet. And the toilet.
And the toilet. And the toilets, yeah, it's just it's phenomenal, really. Oh, Von's brought the thing up.
Oh,
excellent.
Thank you, Von.
You can say in some way that we do kind of have ghosts all the time in the toilets, but I wouldn't even go there.
See, but then I think people get energy and actual ghosts mixed up, because I think, yes, ghosts are energy, but to actually see the ghost itself, but just feel the energy, two different things.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I think when you see a ghost, I think that's something that they do to your mind.
Yeah,
I think they implant it into your mind so that they can somehow channel into your thoughts.
But how do you get the photographs then?
Maybe they can implant an image onto photographs. I wouldn't know. I do. I mean, I do believe that spirit energy is energy, but then everything's energy.
Yeah, everything.
Voice, everything. This shirt, this. I mean, these things that we see, and it's a mind blower. But the fact is, they're not really there. That's the thing.
So you're sitting there naked then, Dan?
Well, I'm not here. That's the thing. The thing is, what we see is a projection of our own minds.
Yeah.
The reality is that material. It's like I was watching a documentary once with a surgeon, and he was talking about life after death, and he'd experienced a lot of people that he'd operated on that had actually had near-death experiences. And they said, when did it become real for you? He went, well, it became real for me, he said, when I was doing an operation on somebody and I was cutting down and I went through one layer and then I cut down. I went through another layer, and then another layer, until I got to the point I needed to do the operation on. He said, and I thought to myself, if you just keep going with like atoms are in the physical world, but a manifestation of energy. So if you keep going, in the end, there's nothing there. But there is.
There's nothing. Yeah.
But there is. There's energy. So that's why I think. That's why I always say. I think that the whole planet, or everything in the universe, everything everywhere, resonates or is part of the same frequency.
Yeah.
Annette,
you know,
said something. She said, "I don't like something in my house like wallpaper on the toilet wall. I've put it up 3 times, and each time it comes off in the night."
That might be damp because it's a bathroom.
Yeah.
Because my mum used to try putting toilet paper up, not toilet paper.
Toilet paper?
Yeah,
toilet paper.
Used toilet paper. No, she used to try putting toilet paper up in the toilet or the bathroom. And of course, with the steam, it used to just keep coming off. And we tried to tell her, but she wouldn't have it.
I must admit, I'm bad for letting my shower run for ages because I absolutely like my shower being roasting. That's why I always think I've went to hell, because I like everything roasting.
You need to do the cold shower for 2 minutes, the Wim Hof thing.
Yeah,
it is amazing.
It's
seriously.
Cool, it's nice.
2 minutes.
What's that? The cold showers, lovely.
Yeah. Put yourself under it and just sit there and man it up.
I'll tell you what, I'll do that tomorrow, and then I'll scream, and then I'll voice clap you. So that cold shower, yep.
See, I often like walking around with buckets of ice down my pants.
The thing is, to do the cold shower thing, when you come out of the shower, you do feel a little bit different. I'm not taking any notes, said Dan.
Cold.
It's just cold.
You need to send me a picture.
It's just a big pair of wire fronts with a load of ice. There you go, like that.
Selfie.
Oh dear! Is that your way of combating the heat wave, Dan?
It is.
Ice
Plenty
pants.
of buckets of ice down your pants. That'll do it.
Why don't you just take your pants off? Put your pants in the freezer and then get them out when they're rock hard, and then put them on.
My pants are massive. You haven't seen them, Viv. They would never fit in the freezer.
You want one of them big
fit in the
chest
freezer.
freezers?
In fact, when I take them off, they've got their own parking space.
Oh my God.
Got their own legs.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You're terrible. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
So we've quite established. In fact, I'll go to bed thinking about that now.
Dan and his pants.
See, now the thing is, I bet that lot out there, I bet you don't get these type of conversations on other programs.
Oh, crikey, no. Can you imagine? No.
We'll be appearing at an event near you soon, and Dan will be having signed photographs of Dan's pants.
I'm first in queue. I'll be
They
like,
can cure things. You can touch me pants. They're magic pants. They cure things.
They'll walk with you.
Behave
Whistle.
yourself. You're not right.
Calvin Klein to eat your heart out.
So come on, let's bring it back to Haunted Loos. Haunted toilets.
Yes, let's bring it back to haunted toilets. Right.
Jeremy will be telling us off.
I know, haunted toilets.
So yeah.
There's a lot of them, isn't there?
Shall we get the Jar of Doom out?
Get the Jar of Doom.
The Jar of Doom. It's here again. I can't get the lid off.
Did you say it was raining up your way today?
Yeah.
What, a
Not
lot?
much. No, just a little bit. Dan, tell me
still
when
hot?
to stop. Tell me when to stop.
Muggy, yeah. Stop.
Oh, Lois, this one, Bob or Bill? Bob or
I'll take
Bill?
a Bob.
Bob it is. Next week we are talking about...
Can we do the other one
Nice.
because I'm working?
I'll switch it. Viv, he's working. He wants to be on when it's on. Can we use the other one then?
I want to do
The other-
Bigfoot. I'm working next week.
The Enfield.
Ah, my
Yeah.
hometown. My hometown.
Oh, is that where you're
Right.
from then?
I was born and brought up not far from that haunting, actually.
So
About a mile.
So we'll be talking about the Enfield haunting next week. So that will be a very interesting subject, I think, because there's lots of things that have come out since about that Enfield haunting 30 years afterwards, wasn't it?
Yes.
Lots of things have come
Is
out.
that the cage?
No, that's Nosif in Essex.
Right, okay.
But
Well,
the
what I'm-
Enfield haunting,
mixed up.
a friend of mine was a police sergeant, and he worked. She was retiring as he was starting years ago. But
Right.
she was the policewoman that was called out to the Enfield haunting, and
Oh,
the
okay.
stuff he told me. I'm bearing in mind this guy's a police sergeant, and he told me this in confidence. Well, I've told people before, but it's phenomenal.
Is it?
I will dig out the tape, and if I can work it, I will play a special interview that was done with Maurice Grosse, and he actually plays some of Janet's friend. We'll call him the friend. Well, we'll play it next week. So if I can work it out how to do it on here, we'll play it and we'll do the full 2 hours. So you'll get the whole experience. You'll hear the interview, and Dan will talk about Enfield because where he grew up and where he came from. Enfield, he knows it like the back of his hand.
At that time, yeah, I had friends that lived over there. As I said, I didn't live that far, and we used to go over there at the time, and it was, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, there's some comments here. She knows you well, Dan.
She knows me too well. Oh, good.
I don't want to talk about my ex-husband.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you can, don't forget on Things Network, try and vote for Simply Spooky as one of your favourite podcasts. If you can, and if you can get your friends to vote for us as well, that would be great. Next week we are talking about the Enfield haunting. Lois, have you got much coming up this week?
This week, I maybe be free tomorrow night, depending with work-wise. And Friday, I'm back with yous, and I'm having a week off my crime show. So that'll be me. That'll be pretty much it.
Do you want to talk crime on Friday night?
If you want to talk, why don't we combine crime and paranormal? Do the both.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll do that
sounds
then.
good. So on Frighteners, on Lois's show on Friday on Simply Spooky, we'll be talking about crime, as you've just heard. Tomorrow night.
Jay on Friday.
No, working.
Friday. Oh, you're working, mate. No problem.
Working.
Oh, honey.
We'll be talking about Jay.
Yeah, you probably will be.
Yep.
So I don't care.
All good things.
Yeah. And tomorrow night on Simply Spooky, we have Robin Swanson, aka Madam, will be in to have a chat with Dan and I. So that will be very interesting. We're talking about all things paranormal, spooky, and witchy. I think she's
a nice lady, isn't she?
She's
nice
very
lady.
nice. Yeah. So we'll be talking to Robin tomorrow. So we'll look forward to that. What you got planned for the rest of the week, Dan? Apart from the
Tomorrow night,
shows.
I'm speaking to Robin Swanson.
Apart from the shows. Apart from the
Friday's me doing
shows.
Lois, and we'll be talking about crime and ghosts. And this week, work.
Just working. What about the
Paperwork.
weekend? Got much going on the weekend?
Fox has got his birthday party on Saturday.
Oh, happy birthday to Fox.
Oh,
He's
Huge
gone to bed.
cuddles.
He's gone to bed. But is he not? Oh, here he is. Come here.
get him on.
Come here. Look, come on.
Hi, Fox.
Hello, Fox.
Hi.
Is it
Where are
your
you?
birthday soon? How old are you going to
Happy
be?
birthday.
7.
Not 7? Wow, that's
Yeah.
old.
Wow.
That's really old.
Yeah.
Oh, what's Daddy getting you for your birthday?
A lot. And something very loud.
Is it?
Oh.
Something very loud. I've already bought it, and I wish
Is
I
that
had.
is that the R2D2?
No, that's mine.
Oh,
No, that's mine. The R2D2 is mine. Although we're going to share it, aren't we?
Yeah.
He'll probably end up with it anyway, to be honest.
Mm.
I'll probably end up in your bedroom, won't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, no, we're doing a birthday party thing for Fox. Nothing really. Not a lot, really.
we'll have to
What
get.
about you, Viv? What you got on this week?
I'm going to visit my brother's grave for the very first time on Saturday.
Oh, you're going to visit Nick?
So sorry to hear that.
He's been gone 10 years and I've never been to his grave, and I thought, well, I better go at some point. And I found out that the vampires are congregating in Brompton Cemetery on Saturday. So people that dress up as vampires and just have a picnic or whatever it is they do.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So I said to Andy, shall we go and see what these vampires are doing? At the same time, let's go and see Nick's grave. So I might be doing a spirit box session at his grave to see if he'll talk to me.
Well, the thing is, Nick was a ghost on himself, God bless him, wasn't he? So
He was, yeah. So if he is going to talk to anyone through a
talk to
spirit
you.
box, hopefully he'll do it. So,
Fingers
I'll be
crossed.
thinking of you, precious.
and I might go live. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
when's that Saturday? If you're going to go to Nick's grave?
Yeah, on Saturday.
Saturday.
What about you, Jay?
Work.
Just working.
Work. More work. Yeah, working. I had a day off since last Tuesday, so I'm feeling it a bit tonight. Just with the hot
Yes.
weather and stuff, that's why I haven't really
Yes.
spoke, to be fair. I am absolutely knackered, but
Yeah, I know, mate. It's a hard job you've got.
I've noticed
yeah,
something. I've noticed something. Oh, that's why. I thought our names had disappeared, but they're back again.
I just think it is because Doris is getting a wee bit over the hill. If he just take me up my offer, I could get him 70% off in a care home. He'd get that after a day, you know. What size of pads do you take, by the way? Where now to get a note, pen, paper?
God.
He's not happy. Look at his face. Look.
He's
Is
ready
that is
to
the face
pounce.
of somebody who's knackered?
Yeah. So, Lois, what are you doing over the weekend?
dyeing her hair.
I think I'm going to terrorise Doris. I think I'll give him a few cold showers, you know, just the usual. Over the weekend, pretty much I think it'll just be a quiet one, really.
Yeah. And having a bit of a chill.
Definitely.
So it was
definitely.
it was actually Mark Manby. I saw one of his posts that he put up the other day, or yesterday or something. Well, 20 hours ago, whatever it was. That apparently the heat's meant to hit 44 at some point next week.
Yeah,
Oh my
next
God.
week. Yeah,
Yeah.
44.
I'm gonna melt.
Dan, you'll need more than an ice bucket in your
I'll just get bigger pants. More ice, bigger pants.
We all need to do a selfie in big pants now for Dan. We need to get big pants and do a selfie.
Like the
Wait,
paranormal
I've
pants.
got the phone on already.
Like the paranormal pants, Viv. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
I've got paranormal pants, you know. I do have some. Paranormal pants. So, right, if we've got nothing else to say about haunted toilets, I think we will just bring the show to a close because it is hot and muggy and
Horrible. Well, it's not nice, is it? I wouldn't mind if we had a really nice blistering sun with it, but we haven't, have we?
No.
no, it's been awful today.
Yeah, that's been great.
And I've done so much with dinosaurs. In fact, Dan, you're coming up to Peterborough with the wife and
I love
children.
I love it.
So
You'll love that. You'll love that.
They're walking around, and it's all T-Rex, so it's going to be quite scary.
That'd be all right.
What, for Dan?
Yeah, I'm terrified. I'll be like one of the naughty kids who just run up and kick it and then run up and hide behind Hazel.
Save me.
It's cold as penguins' nuts here.
Is it really that cold?
Oh, I would love to be in South
As
Africa.
cold as the polar bear's cuff.
Do you know what? I think the world, the weather system seems to have switched. Have you noticed that, Dan? We're getting all the hot stuff.
I just think it's that normal. I don't buy into any of that, to be honest with you.
Do you know?
No, I don't.
Nah, I think it's just natural. The whole thing is natural. I think, to me, I think a lot of that is just scaremongering.
Do you think?
Yeah. I think it's always, when you go back in history, the planet's always done this, and it's always been unpredictable. I don't think there's anything unusual in the planet's behaviour. I think it's just natural.
I wish it bloody hurry up. Oh, I shouldn't swear. I wish it would stop being hot now because I've had enough. Normally, I only get 2 weeks of good weather, and then it's back to raining. But
yeah. Then we moan about that.
I know. We'll be saying it's too cold, it's too warm, it's too cold, it's too warm.
Then we don't get rain for half a day. We're like, oh, I wish it would rain.
Yeah.
It's like Scotland, the only place you see 4 seasons in one day.
here, where I live, you can walk from dry into wet weather. You can actually have 1 foot in dry stuff and 1 foot in where it's raining. I've actually done that a few times up here.
Blimey, you got long legs.
They're long enough.
Them pants.
Yeah.
So Von's just put a message up. We always used to have bad winters and hot summers. Not as hot as it's going to be, though. I don't recall.
I don't know. Do you remember? Was it 76?
76, yes. Yes, it went on for ages, didn't it?
It was terrible, wasn't it? I remember that the local authorities, they opened up. Do you remember it when they opened up the standpipe for the water at the bottom of and everybody had to go down with buckets, and you were only allowed so much?
Yeah, you weren't allowed to flush your toilet.
Weren't allowed to flush your toilet.
Really?
Yeah, you weren't allowed to flush.
Only
if you did a number 2, you could flush the loo. But
Yeah.
otherwise, if it was yellow, let it mellow, they said.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
If it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, let it mellow.
Mellow. That's
And
what it
remember
was.
what they always tell you at winter?
76, yeah. Oh, Von, it was awful.
Yellow snow.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, it's all to do with conserving water, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then in 76, we had the coal miners' strike, so the electricity would go out as well in the evening.
Do you remember that in the 70s? I remember my mum used to have, every time, it was like literally every week, go and get the candles.
Yeah.
And we sit there with bloody candles. It was like living in Dickensian London.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
It's alright, 76, I wasn't even 30.
I'm talking about 1876, Chantel.
You don't realise how old we are. Dan's
He's
about
only
400.
21.
He's 400 years old, and
I
I'm 250.
And the rest.
Oh! Punch him. Come on, let me see it.
One of my first jobs was look out on the Titanic.
That's why they had the Titanic. You were too busy sitting in the toilet.
That's why it's safe, because you're too busy putting the ice down your pants.
Exactly. I was leaving over with my pants down, trying to pull the iceberg into it.
So somebody was shouting, "There's the delivery coming!"
Oh dear, we'd get into trouble one day.
I remember those one.
Yeah. We haven't had a real decent cold winter for a good 3 years now here. it's
Yeah.
not really been that cold, and it bothers me because we need these colder spells to kill off the fleas and the ticks and all the nasty little grubs that need to go, and we've not had that. I mean, our fields are the thunderflies. They've not even started They've not started to harvest yet, and they are swarming. You go outside,
Really?
Yeah, they're all over your all over you, and you. So
excuse me.
So I only go out at night now to water the garden, and I have a special little treat because the later I go out, then my little friends come out and see me.
They still turn up.
Well, one of them was running underneath my legs last night when I was on the plane. So my friends, yeah. Well, I've bought them some nice food that they can munch on. I always put water down for them.
Bless them.
But I want to say to people before we go tonight, please do not take your dogs out in this heat.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Leave them in the car.
Because they're poor little pads. They cannot deal with walking on hot surfaces, and it's hurting them. So just leave them at home. Keep them cool, and just love them at home. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure there's plenty of water down as well.
Yeah.
Same with cats. Plenty of water.
Oh, my cat. He's I didn't see him all day. He was underneath the bed. I think he was dying quietly underneath the bed.
Isn't it? That's why it's cooler under the shade.
Yeah. Right. So we'll end it here. It was lovely to see everybody in the chat.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. MS says, "I'll just." I'm with you on that one.
Emma. Exactly.
I'm with you on that one. So we will see everybody next week, if not Thursday, Wednesday, and Friday.
He's not silly.
So Friday on Simply Spooky. And we hope that you have a wonderful week, whatever it is that you're doing. And if you are ghost hunting, stay safe, drink lots of water, stay rehydrated, and look after one another.
Definitely.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. Look after each other.
Bye. Bye. Bye.